What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to the Design Lounge. Today I'm going to be creating another Shoegaze album cover for you. You spoke up and I listened. You all love the first one that I did, which is right here, and I'm going to create another one. So this one I'm going to go a little bit more of the My Bloody Valentine route, where I'm just going to kind of layer images on top of each other and use some blending modes and just try a couple of different things. I have no idea what I'm going to do, which ones I'm going to start with. No planning has been put into this, so I'm just going to improvise it. Before we get started, please remember to hit like and subscribe below, and also click the bell for notifications to be notified of all new content. Now, let's get started. All right, so I'm right here in Photoshop, and what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna create a new document, go over here to inches, and change this to 12.5 inches. And 12.5 inches. I know that the actual document itself is going to end up to be more like 12.625 just to accommodate for the bleed, but this isn't going to be printed anywhere, so it's no big deal. All right, so first thing I'm going to do is head over to Unsplash, one of my favorite websites for free images, and I'm just going to type in abstract and just see what comes up, and I'm just going to see what strikes me, basically. So what we're going to be doing is it's going to be very similar to, like the My Bloody Valentine album covers, where like you've got the image of a guitar and everything, but we're just going to kind of layer over some different images there. And I'll just kind of let you know in general exactly how they do that, and just kind of show you those processes. This is interesting. I really like this one right here. Those nice vertical gold lines. That's pretty cool. And what's really cool about this, since we're using Photoshop, is we can go in and we can change colors of different things and things like that. So I'm gonna grab this one just for texture. And I think I'm going to start off with like maybe 3 different ones. This is cool right here. So I'm just going to start off with 3 different ones for the texture. And let's go ahead and I'm just going to grab an image of a guitar, somebody playing a guitar, definitely an electric guitar, not an acoustic one, but we'll just kind of see what we've got going on here. I may specify electric guitar. Okay. Okay, this is pretty cool. I actually like this one. It doesn't have to be someone playing the guitar, but this is cool. I like the blue and the purple. That already has like a My Bloody Valentine MBV vibe going on. So let's go over here, go to my desktop, get this window out of the way, and let's open all of these up in Photoshop. So first thing I'm going to do is grab this guitar image, and I'm going to get the placement exactly how I want it. This is pretty cool right here. So basically what we want to do is we want to, like shoegaze music in general is very much like, you can hear the vocals, but you don't really know what they're saying, and you can kind of hear some things just kind of going on here and there. We want the visual to really represent the music itself. So what I'm going to do is, I think that I'm pretty happy with this placement right here, so I'm going to go ahead and flatten this by doing Command E on my keyboard. And let's take a look at the first texture, and I'm going to just grab this right here and just drop this on top. I'm going to center it, and since it doesn't matter our orientation, I'm just going to go ahead and rotate it and then just scale this up just like this. And I want to get these on the canvas first before we really do anything with it. So let me just kind of drop them on here, and then what I'll do is I'll edit each one of them individually and just kind of see what we can do. And if we need to add more later, then we can do that. All right, these gold bars, man, that's really cool. I think I might use that for something else. I'm not sure what, but I think I'll use it for some project. I'm sure. That's pretty cool. Okay, so now we can close these images out because we don't really need those. All right, so the first thing we're gonna do is go right here, and I think that I'm going to desaturate this guitar layer. Those colors on there are really cool, but by the time that we're actually done applying all these different layers and effects and everything, we're not gonna actually see those colors anymore. So first thing I wanna do is just kind of take a look and see how this blends right here, and see what our different options are. So that's pretty cool. Like screen is a really cool one right here. So basically what it's doing is just kind of getting rid of some of those darker elements and then just showing some of the lighter ones. So that one's cool. Color dodge is interesting. Linear dodge is okay, but I think it's just showing a little bit too much of both of the imagery in there. So I'm just kind of cycling through here, and I think that I may end up going with screen. That's the only one so far that's really jumped out at me. Color is interesting. I actually like that one, but it's very similar to what the color was before we actually desaturated there. So I think I'm just going to leave this as screen. And then what we can do here is since we've enlarged this, you can see just, there's kind of like some artifacts and pixelation going on here. So there's many different things you can do here, but I like to do oil paint to just kind of smooth those lines out a little bit more. And so we can do that. And let's see what we can do here. Let's go ahead and activate this layer. This one has a lot of different colors going on in it, and overall I'd like for the colors to be very simple. So I think I'm going to desaturate this one as well. I may even invert those colors by doing Command I on the keyboard. So let's just kind of blend these and see what kind of textures we can come up with here. Definitely want it to be nice and complex in terms of the designs and everything, and we also have two different ones that are kind of overlapping each other. So I may go in and that's interesting. That's a lot of it just looks like paint or something like that. But I may go in and actually adjust some of the lighting, the levels, and the curves, things like that. Divide is interesting. That's pretty cool. So I think what we'll do is I actually really like color burn. That's a pretty cool one. So let's just kind of adjust. Oh yeah, and let me pin that just to this layer. I don't want it to be too dark, but I'm actually thinking kind of a dark vibe going on here, and just really increasing some of the contrast and making it nice and dramatic. And then from this point, let's pin this just to it's a hue and saturation layer, and I'm just kind of playing around with colors a little bit. I actually kind of like the blue and the green. That's cool. It's very it just kind of gives me like a summer type of vibe to it. I'm gonna take a drink of water real quick. I feel like I'm clearing my throat a lot. Sorry about that. Okay, so in this area, so this one here, I believe it's this one. No, it's actually this one. This one has a lot of these like specks on it and everything, and that's not necessarily a bad thing. I just kind of want to change the appearance of them a little bit. So let's go into our filter gallery. And not diffuse glow. I've used that several times in the past, but obviously it was the last filter I used for something. I don't know what it was though. Okay, so I'm going to go into 100% view and just kind of see what we can do to maybe kind of clean those up or give them a little bit more texture. So something like crosshatch is going to take a minute for it to process, and I think I might actually just zoom out just a little bit. Dark strokes will probably give it a little bit less contrast, actually a lot more contrast. There we go. Okay, that's because the white intensity is turned up. So let's just kind of see what this looks like when we apply this. Okay, that's definitely too dark. We've lost almost all of our detail going on there. So let me try this right here. You always got to take that into account whenever you're working with different layer styles and blending modes. All right, so pixelate. What if we just did like a Gaussian blur on this? That would just kind of help to clean up those a little bit, and it almost kind of gives it like a blur effect, which is great actually. That's perfect for what we're going for. And let's see, we may do like a motion blur. That would be cool. So let's see kind of what that looks like. Let's do a nice long distance on that, and I think maybe a 45-degree angle is probably good. So that is, let's see, It's not giving us too much, and the reason why is because we've already applied that Gaussian blur to it, so it's not going to be too dramatic. But what we can do here is with our top layer, once we kind of bring this in and blend these down, we can maybe do the same thing there. So that's kind of interesting. But what I'm looking for here, that's what I'm looking for right there. Color dodge. Color dodge achieved pretty much exactly what I was wanting. Basically what I wanted was for those vertical lines to just kind of have a little bit of place here and there. So what it's doing is it's actually filling in all of the light areas that's showing through, and it's completely fading out in all of the black and the darker areas, which is that's pretty much what I was looking for. But I want to cycle through just really quick to see what the other options are. Overlay is interesting. Let's see here. That's interesting, but like it's a little bit off brand for what I'm going for. So I think that this is cool too, but it's definitely going to invert those colors. Divide is pretty cool. Hue is really nice, actually, but you completely lose all of those vertical lines. So I think what I'm going to do, saturation is pretty cool too. So I think I'm going to go back to color dodge. There we go. Color dodge is pretty much exactly what I was going for from the beginning. So what I'd like to do now is, since we have a lot of these dark areas and just like all of these pockets and everything, I'd like to bring those forward just a little bit. So I'm going to do a curves layer right here, and this is going to apply to everything. So I'm just going to kind of bring this up just a little bit and just play around with these and see where I end up, and just kind of see what I like. When we get too far to there, it kind of starts to kind of look like a heat map, so I don't want to do that. So this is just kind of bringing up those areas a little bit, and I actually really like this a lot. So okay, and then what we can do is I actually do like the color that this is showing right here in this area. It's the only spot on the whole canvas that's that type of color temperature. So that is actually pretty cool right there. All right, so I think what we'll do here is let's do a couple of things, like just a couple of like minimal things to the actual guitar layer itself. First thing I want to do is add a little bit of noise to it. So we're not going to do too much. Just going to add just enough for it to kind of give it a little bit of harshness there. Maybe 5%, or maybe even something like 2 or 3% would is probably okay. I think 2% is good. So let's see what it looks like without, and then this is with. So it's not too dramatic, which is good. And let's just kind of pile on top of that just a couple of different things here. What I'd like to do is kind of get rid of some of this bumpiness just a little bit. So if you go into stylization and crank it all the way up, what you're going to do is get you're going to get some really clean lines there, but you're also going to get just a lot of a lot of swirls and things like that, which is actually perfect for this. But what I'd like to do is kind of aim for somewhere in the middle, where we kind of have a little bit of that cleanliness, but also a little bit of the ruggedness as well. And then I'd like to try just a little bit. Maybe a little bit of the, oh wait, I'm actually adjusting the wrong thing. So let me do this. So go to 45 degree, and then maybe just a little bit of this motion blur on the guitar image itself. That way we actually get a little bit of movement there, but I still want it to be noticeable as a guitar, All right. So in terms of effects, we haven't really done a lot of effects to the vertical lines here, the gold vertical lines, and I don't think that it really requires too much. But I just want to see what's possible and just kind of what we can do to add a little bit more texture to them, even though they're not showing too much. Okay, that's definitely too much texture. I think this would be good. What if we did just horizontal? That's pretty cool. Okay. All right, so you can see the difference there. So we've got nice clean lines, and then here it is with the effect applied. Just gives it a little bit more of like a grungy type of feel. And when we're talking about shoegaze, then you know that's heading more in that general direction. You know, like there's heavy distortion in the music. You definitely want some of that distortion to show in the imagery as well. And then what we're gonna do, I think I'm just gonna top this off with adding a grain layer. And we'll do a camera raw filter right here. And I may go back and change some of those colors, but I'd like for this grain layer to be nice and rough. So this will apply to the entire image. So now what we're going to do is go through the blending modes and just apply it to the rest of the imagery with the blending mode itself. So most of the time, overlay is a good one right here. Soft light can be good too. I think that overlay is probably going to be our winner, but still, I'd like to give all of the other ones a chance. This is interesting, hard light. It's definitely looking a little bit more like maybe like an early 90s alternative rock cover with that grunginess there. It kind of looks like gravel a little bit, or like asphalt. So I'm thinking that we're probably just going to want to apply it to the lighter areas and just go with overlay. All right, so we'll go with something like that. And then what we can do here is, even though we have that hue and saturation layer above the purple right there, what we can do is we can just kind of turn this off a little bit. This is a little bit more, you know, like My Bloody Valentine, you know, the pink, and then the purple, which is pulled in from the MBV album. But what you can do here is you can actually add another one on top of it. So if you want to further control the colors of all of the imagery below, you can do that as well. And I actually do like that orange and that green, although it is looking a little bit heat mappy around this area, but that's totally fine. I think that I think that's fine for what we're going for. So overall, I think that we're good. I think what I will do here is I'll add a solid color layer, probably about 50% gray right here, and then just kind of see if we can just try to lighten up some of those darker areas. That's interesting right there. Color dodge is really turning up the vibrancy of those colors underneath. So that's pretty cool. And I just want to see what we can do here. If there's anything that needs to be done, that's pretty cool. Subtract is really, it's lowering the light there, but it's also really diminishing those colors. So this is cool right here. This is, you know, like it's kind of like saying screw it to all of the color effects that we've done and just turning it completely black and white. So that's actually pretty interesting. Let's see. I think that if I were going to do it, I would do it all the way or nothing at all. Unless we get like somewhere around this area where it's really, really muted with those colors. But something like this could almost be like maybe like a slow dive album cover or something like that. Something that's a little bit more subtle, but you know, still seeing the imagery of the guitar in there. If you know what to look for, it's like, oh yeah, I see some strings, I see some knobs right there. I don't know. I'm kind of tempted to leave it like this, but I also don't want to, you know, betray all of the work that we just did with all of those colors. So, oh boy. Okay. Well, you know what? I think I'll just leave it. I think I'll leave it like this, but I'll leave this color. I'll leave the color fill layer there in case I want to go back and do anything with this. But so for now, what we'll do is we'll just give it an artist. And I think that I'm just going to, let's see. You know what? Let's go completely obscure. For any of you Shoegaze fans out there, if you don't know Rumskib, then definitely listen to them. They only put out the one album, but it's kind of like it's very much a My Bloody Valentine feel to it. So, and since it's Shoegaze, let's go all lowercase. Why not? And I'd like to do something, even if it's something real simple. You know what? What if we just put it here, just kind of tuck it at the bottom, almost kind of like a signature. We gotta account for bleed, so let's do that. So maybe something like this. And it's still a little bit big. So yeah, there we go. This is better. This is definitely better. So what if we did... something like that, and then what we can do is do it like an outer glow. Real nice subtle one. All black. There we go. All right, and just for curiosity, let's just kind of see what it looks like there. So this, like, whenever I see black and white, like the first thing that I'm thinking of when I look at this image is I'm thinking of the Collective Soul December video, and also all of those other music videos that were in the early '90s, where they did like a lot of black and white. That's kind of the vibe that this is giving me. So it's almost like if Rumskib were to release an album in the early '90s, this may be what the album cover looked like. Although it would, at the time, it would have been considered a direct ripoff of "Loveless" by My Bloody Valentine. But that's totally fine. So this is really just kind of showing you the overall process of of how to achieve this. Like there's several ways you can achieve it, obviously, but this is just one of the ways. So I'd like to add a little bit of a Gaussian blur here, and what we'll do is we'll put this underneath that grain layer so that it picks up on some of that grain, and then let's change the color from pure white to maybe like 90%. Something like that. That way, well, maybe 95%, so you can actually see it. 98% is good. Okay, so that way you can actually see the... Let's see. There we go. That's interesting. That's like really... That's really covering like a large amount right there. Let's see. I thought I was done, but apparently not. Designers are never done, right? Okay, maybe something like this. Basically, I just want to make sure that you can read it with no problem. You know what? What we could do here is maybe add like a stroke. Not that much. And outside. Definitely not right. Why is it so large? Oh, is it because it's... Okay, I think the reason why is because it's picking up on the Gaussian blur that we applied to it. And now let's try the stroke. Huh. Should definitely not be... Oh, okay. I see what's going on. So it's applying it as if it... Yeah, so even though I'm turning off that Gaussian blur, it's still taking that into account. So... Why don't we just kind of do this? Oh, that's interesting that we've got the white around there. I think instead what I'll do is I'll just put it like right here. I think that's good. Okay. So after all the fine tuning, here is our improvised Shoegaze album cover. I didn't intend for this to be a black and white, but just adding that color fill on top of it, I really like the way that it applied to all of those colors right there. Let's take a look at it without that color fill. So here it is without the color fill, with all the greens, the oranges, and the pinks and everything. I think both of them are really cool. Which one is your favorite? Let me know down in the comments. All right, well, thanks a lot for watching me improvise that Shoegaze album cover. That was a lot of fun. If you like these, then I'll definitely do more and more Shoegaze-related content if I've got Shoegaze people out there, so that's awesome. Please remember to like and subscribe down below, and also click the bell for notifications to be notified of all new content. Thanks a lot for watching. I'll see you next time. Bye-bye.